Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to look at a little book called How the Robin Got Its Red Breast. The Legend of the, and I'm going to mispronounce this, I'm very, very sorry, the Sechelt people, and illustrated by Charlie Craigan. Now, this, as opposed to some of the other books I covered, isn't about a tribe that's in the United States. This is actually about what would be called up in Canada. They're not called Native Americans up in Canada. They're called First Nations people. And no, they're not treated any better. Canada's not any better than the U.S. is at treating their Native people. So he's actually, what they call their groups, besides the First Nation, is they call their group bands. That's what it says here in the book. He was born in Sechelt, the name of his tribe, British Columbia, in 1969. So he is a member of the Indian band and lives on band lands. So, and then there's a little bit of information about the people in this area. So this is British Columbia. So this is Western Canada as opposed to Eastern Canada. And it talks about a little bit of the history of this group. And yeah, they're the first band in Canada to achieve self-government. And in 1993, their band numbered 844, 450 of whom lived on band land. So basically, they're trying to keep their people alive. So this is a cute little story. The illustrations are very simple. The author is more known for woodcuts. So that's what he did. So it's all black and white. It's done very, very beautifully. You have little illustrations here. And essentially this is a legend. That's the reason it's not necessarily written. He's illustrated this legend of how back in the beginning of their people, when they were still living in caves, basically they were dying out because they were running out of food and running out of fire. So the young men of the tribe and the hunting partners went out to find wood and to find food, leaving behind the women and the children and the old man, the old grandfather. And he sat days and days trying to keep the fire alive. And at this time, the robin that we know of was completely gray. Now, people who've seen robin, they have a red breast. So that's what the story is telling. So after days and days, there's nothing left but a few glowing coals. And the old man eventually falls asleep. So he's been up for days. And the robin comes in to sing his basically morning welcoming song and sees that the fire has gone out. So he crouches down in front of the fire and flaps his wings until it glows red again. And he keeps flapping, and the dust settles everywhere. And he brings basically the fire back to life, and then the hunting party returns. And as they return, this robin leaves, but forever his breast is bright red because of the heat of the coals. Essentially, basically, this is how the robin saved these people. He brought the fire back to life until at the very end, when the hunting party returned with supplies to basically protect these people and keep them warm. So that's this little legend. It's a beautifully done and very little book. It's very short. So definitely would be a good bedtime book, I think. It's good for if you're looking at babies who are very good with contrast. And even though they can't understand it, this would be a good book. They'd be very interested in basically this book because it's high contrast. It's black and white. It's a good book even with elementary school. Again, for this month, I'm leaning more toward the little kids, so usually around 1st through 4th grade. But it's a story that you would kind of tell about around a fire. It's one of the Native American legends. And this is, again, as opposed to the United States, this is from the First Nations people up in British Columbia in Canada. So this is a little bit of a different group of people, and there's a little bit of information about these specific band in the back of the book. So if you're looking into not only Native American history, but also the First Nations people, which, yes, they're the same thing, just different names because different countries, and they decided just to call them First Nations people and still treat them like crap. They're not any better. In some ways, they might be slightly worse. I've heard things that they still take they have a thing about taking Native children away from their families. They can't do that in the U.S. It's against the law. And I don't think they do it all that often because, again, it's federal. It's gone through the Supreme Court. They get in trouble. They can literally take that to court. It's like, nope, can't do it. I follow a secular homeschooling group, and that was brought up because Canada Day, I think, was recent because it's summer. But this is one of the legends of those people who are situated, in this case, British Columbia, Canada. So that's, again, Western Canada, if you're familiar with that. That's, I think, one of the westernmost provinces of Canada. So, this book tells me where it is. No, this just gives me the history. So, yeah, they're on the coast. So, that is, I mean, there's not much else to say. It's beautifully done. It's, again, it's done more of in a woodcut style of black and white, but the illustrations are very, very well done. You see, basically, I'm assuming these are from the totem poles. Please ignore the meowing cat. She's being irritating. That is Kendra. I choose not to let her in right now because she's irritating and 12 and fat. Yes, she shows up in some of my other videos if you want to actually go back there and look at her. But back to the book. So it does little illustrations here, and then I'm assuming these are the people who would do totem poles. And this would be stuff that would be carved on the totem poles. So, and it's different images, I'm assuming, of robins. So, which is a very common bird with their red, where the males have the red breast. So this is one of their legends. I think it would be a good bedtime story. It's short enough. It's a little book. It's only, like, it's not giving me page numbers. There are no page numbers. It's very short. It's very short. It's very cute. It's a good story to tell. Again, this is one of their legends. So this would be something that would be told around campfires. So probably a great thing to do around campfires, or as a unit study if you're looking at Native American history and looking at some of the tales they tell. And this is a classic example of one of their legends and their explanations of how the world became as it was. So again, not much to it. Very cute book, definitely geared toward the little ones, though again, it's one of their legends. So this is something you could even read with high school students and any age, because it's a simple legend story, even around campfires if you're, or again, once again, if you're looking at Native American studies and their history, because this is a great story. Particularly for Native, I think people in the U.S., we sometimes seem to forget that the Native people stretch both north and south of us. It's not just the United States, so Canada has their entire own way of destruction, at least the Canadian government, of the Native people. They just call them First Nations people. So, and that's where this comes from. So it's a great way to explain. It's like, yep, yeah, there are natives everywhere, throughout north, south, all over the continental United States. So, and this is a great way to kind of introduce that, or just a story to read to young kids about Native American history and their legends. So again, it was illustrated by Charlie Craigan. I don't know, that's his, it talks about him. So here's a picture. This is him. I'm guessing this was some time ago because he looks relatively young because he was born in 1969. So, and yeah, Charles Joseph Charlie Craigan. So he was born in 1969 and he became an artist, and he primarily did woodworking, working with the carvers. So that's kind of what you see in this book. So again, great book, great part of Native American history or First World people history, depending on what side of the border you're on. So that's it for this review. It's one of the multiple book reviews I'm doing every Monday during the month of November. I'm also covering on Fridays information from the Smithsonian Institute's Museum of the American Indian and some of their resources, some of their exhibitions and various things they have there. So that's what I'm covering on Fridays. If you want to go back, I did a bunch of Halloween stuff, covered Dracula, Frankenstein, the Phantom of the Opera, and Legend of Sleepy Hollow, as well as some things like Bunnicula and a few other, I think I did a book called Funny Bones, which is about the Day of the Dead Skulls. And then some fun films in October. I did a bunch of Halloween stuff, as well as Harry Potter. All of it. I covered all of it, starting back in September through October, so if you want to check that out. I also have a bunch of variety of other book reviews that are already posted, some homeschool stuff, some sprinkling of some children's travel stuff. Next month in December, I'm doing all fun stuff. I'm doing various non-religious children's books and some just kind of fun films like The Grinch Stole Christmas and The Polar Express and stuff like that. And then further on in my plans, I'm covering food in January, then both African American and Asian American history come February. And that's as far as I planned as of this video, which is being filmed in June. So that is it. Like and subscribe if you like what you see. Thank you.